So this next talk is called Building with Builders in Mind, Creating a New Token Standard, and your speaker is already on stage, so give him a round of applause for Dominic Ryder.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about a brand new token standard, which really annoyed me after the 6551 came out, because it was supposed to be brand new in the exact, pretty much same thing, but ours has a couple of key differences in the fact that it can be rebalanced and also that there are LPs. So just to give you some, been in the industry since, well, bought my first token XRP in 2018. If people will forgive me for that, I think it was eToro back when that was the done thing. But previous to that, I worked in financial services, so I started out as a stockbroker, derivatives trader, 250 cold calls a day, typical boiler room stuff that you see, and then did really well, loved the fast-paced environment. One thing I found when I was in financial services is mainly the fact that there always seemed to be two elements to every single office. Anyone who's worked in financial services will be fully aware that you tend to have the CFA, privately educated, full education, always coming from old money background on the investment side, and then you tend to have the sales team, the sort of admin, the marketing, who try their hardest to try and get to the same level. But there's a lot of disadvantages, especially in fund management, and so Alvara was brought from that to try and democratize and create a true meritocracy in fund management. So not my first token. I founded Vemp Studios back in August 31st, 2021. So we got to just over 600 million fully diluted value at our peak on KuCoin. Huobi Gate still going strong, but been hammered like everybody else in the bear market. But there we are. We're still here. A stockbroker, derivatives trader, worked for a company called St. James's Place, which is a FTSE 100 wealth manager, where I was associate partner there. After working at all of these investment firms, including traditional VC afterwards, which invested into some tech stuff, but also boring things like care homes, gyms, children's nurseries, anything that had a tangible freehold property that we could take charge of should anything bad happen to the underlying business. So after all of that experience, I realized that even though I might sound posh, I don't come from an upper class background. I'm just English. So I found that you had this big separation and a lot of tension in between the investment team and the sales team, which I was on. And it all stemmed from the fact that it's always an old boys club, even to this day, both in the stock market, VCs. I mean, even in crypto, you get held back by who you know and what you know, and that's why anyone starting their own protocol, you have the typical who's on your advisory board. Most advisors, they're just pretty useless. I mean, they're just a face of the website and then outlive their value very, very quickly. But all the same, you do have this step that you can't get past. So with Alvara, we are trying to solve a few problems. So we have got, there we go, tread-free problems. Lack of transparency, which isn't necessarily just traditional finance, even with, Alameda and centralized exchanges in general. Even with proof of reserves, you still have this, Merkle tree thing. It can be faked. Crypto.com sent like 32,000 ETH to Gate, and there's always a problem with the opaque nature, even in sort of centralized crypto. High fees as well, especially on the active management. Some people would know, if you're familiar, you've got passives, which is like Vanguard and ETFs and indexes, and then you've got active managers where somebody is actually making decisions. And those tend to come with high fees of up to 20% performance, and 1.6% is the average. And there's a high barrier to entry, both somebody looking to become a fund manager, because we seem to have this idea and concept in humanity that people who are born into sort of a superior or privileged place in their life automatically become better than others who equally have the intelligence, but in reality we just don't have those advantages to get to the level of these fund managers. You need a CFA, you need an IMC. All of these are just standard procedures to get into a fund management business. Even if you're the best investor in the world, if you do not have those, you won't get a fund management job in London anyway. So this frustrated me a lot, especially because I thought I was smarter than some of these people, frankly. Maybe that's just arrogance, but all of these mistakes I saw them making just seemed so junior, and their selections, like Cathie Wood is a perfect example from ARC, has terrible performance, like sold NVIDIA before it pumped, has literally been long Tesla at all the wrong times and then short on other times. So I wanted to give people the ability to be their own boss, be their own fund manager, and be able to compete one-to-one on a meritocracy. So I don't have the actual demo, which I was going to present, but essentially what we have built is a factory contract which mints our new token standard, which, as I say, is currently called the ERC-BTS because it hasn't been given a number yet. And it allows anybody to come onto the platform, input however many tokens that they would like. Let's say that it's a metaverse fund that somebody wants to bring. So they input 33% sand, 33% mana, 5% is automatically in Alva for those using the factory contract, and the rest they have as my old token VEMP. Once they mint that, they get full management rights and earn 1% of anybody that contributes to that. So it loads up onto a CoinMarketCap style leaderboard where everybody who has ever minted one of those can compete one-on-one against each other. When people contribute on the monthly rebalancing, they get LP tokens. So what this means is that if you have 1,000 people who are all on a CMC style leaderboard, all of their performance is ranked. If people are able to contribute to that and get LP tokens, then you, as the best fund manager, you can build a DAO and build your own fund within the platform. So if I performed at 100%, somebody else performed at 50%, I can literally get 10 people contribute 1 ETH each. I'll earn 1% of all of that. So you have the ability to build your own DAO around the protocol. So what we've got with Alvara is core DeFi infrastructure, just like how Curve is the building blocks for so many other protocols. Convex, Yearn, StakeDAO, Pickle Finance all use Curve's infrastructure and liquidity pools in order to produce their own. This is the building blocks for a whole new, there we go, a whole new level of infrastructure, and should spawn and has the ability to spawn so many other protocols beneath it. There we go, our token standard. So we are still to decide which layer 2. Obviously we're launching on ETH because if we want to be core DeFi infrastructure, you know, that's where we got to go. But because it's going to be a large transaction, in order to mint this to your wallet, we will need a layer 2. So, you know, there's a few toss-ups between Optimism, Arbitrum. Gnosis is gasless, so that could be a good one for us as well, but we're yet to decide on that. So with this, you actually have the ability to be ranked amongst and against any crypto fund around. Let's say you've got Multicoin. Let's say that you've got Pantera. We want to get our token standard to the level where if they aren't using it, then there'll be questions asked as to why they don't want to rank their performance against everybody else's. If we can spur the sort of competition and look after the retail element where we are incentivizing all of these influencers or KOLs who, you know, talk the big talk and say how early they were to everything. If we can actually make them put their money where their mouth is, show their performance against everybody else, we open up a huge playing field where if institutions don't use our token standard, people will ask why they don't want to compete against retail. What have you got to fear? So this should allow for a true meritocracy where anybody can rise to the top based on their own performance, build their assets under management, earn 1% of the fees for doing so, and if they do want to expand that business, then they can do so at their own leisure. So we're hoping to build this out into like this DAO and sub-DAO culture, just like how you do have all of these aggregators that are built around Curve. We want to have the same level where, you know, you got Convex, which is a top 100 token, Yearn, which is close to, all wouldn't exist without Curve as its infrastructure. So we want to get to that level where we have so many protocols that, and so many fund managers that have been able to take advantage and actually get to that status where they are the looked to manager compared to everybody else, no matter their background. With the actual protocol itself, we're not taking ownership of the token standard. It wouldn't be a token standard if you're gatekeeping it. What we are doing is allowing for anybody anywhere to mint from our factory contract, but any BTS coded anywhere will automatically pull through, just like how OpenSea would pull through any ERC-721. Ours will pull through any BTS. So the 5%, which is in Alva, which is standard, that doesn't have to be done. You know, we're not going to gatekeep that, but anybody minting it through our platform will be able to do that. But you can contribute to any BTS via the protocol, whether it has any Alva or not. So the hope is, obviously, to get to a level where we have the same sort of selection and the same sort of categories that we can have the exact sort of coin market cap, you know, metaverse gaming, and put these into all of these subsets so that people can come and have choice, and they can genuinely go with whoever they think will drive the best performance, see all of the stats. And so the Alvara Foundation will be building this out to try and facilitate the next generation of fund managers. On-chain, obviously, would prevent from sort of the Alameda stuff and everything that's happened on there. I mean, as much as we do have transparency in blockchain, there's certain elements where you don't know and you have to trust what goes on with your money. One example that I've used before is, anyone in the UK here might know the Proof Fund, which is basically this, this fund which has gone up in an actual straight line for about 25 years, and that's because they smooth their returns. They don't disclose all of their holdings, and they just pay 3% performance every single year, no questions asked, and they keep anything over and above, and you just have to trust that they, you know, don't have too much leverage in that fund. They haven't blown it up. So we want to have, and if anyone believes in blockchain, like, we know the merits of having tokenized assets. So we got gold already, we've got crypto, but there's no reason that we shouldn't have individual stocks having an ERC-20 equivalent, because it's proof of ownership. You know, that is the future for traditional finance, and therefore there is no reason why a successful protocol such as ours that can build out this infrastructure can't bring on traditional finance eventually. But how we do that is by becoming such a well-used standard that when they are looking to enter this industry, they use, just like how, you know, let's say Porsche NFTs that didn't do very well, you know, they use the ERC-721 because it's gone too standard. We want to be the same so that when new funds start, traditional or crypto, they actually come to us as standard. So as I say, yeah, the actual demo that I was going to show you will show you this in a bit more detail, but the platform itself is a bit like OpenSea and a bit like CoinMarketCap in the fact that it's a full suite. Once you've started your DAO, if you're successful, you can sell your management rights. So you can actually essentially sell your performance. A lot of people wonder, you know, who wants to buy it if it's based on the fund manager's performance. But there's plenty of evidence in the traditional world. There was a guy called Neil Woodford who, again, actually blew up his fund in the end. But he moved from Invesco Perpetual to start his own firm, and still tons of people stayed with the old manager. So people can actually, you know, start a business, create their business, manage their business, and then sell their business all the way to the end. The token, as I say, for anything minted for the 5%, anything minted through the factory contract has the 5%. The key part of our DAO and of how we are running it is that we're doing the exact same gauge weight system as Curve. the reason for this is that we are hoping to have, obviously, the competitive nature of retail underlying and lots of individual factory minted contracts. But we want to have institutions incentivized to purchase as much Alva as possible. Anyone familiar with Curve will know that if you lock it for 4 years, you get the most votes escrowed, and therefore you have more power. And this is what started the Curve Wars, where you had Convex, Yearn all competing for everybody's VE curve to try and incentivize their LP pool the most. So we'll be doing the same concept in that if, for example, you're multi-coin and you want as much assets under management into your BTS as possible, then we, as Alvara, will be sending Alva to the LP token holders, and the DAO decides which BTS that goes to. So that's the same sort of institutional competitiveness that Curve managed to produce so well with the Curve Wars, and why Convex eventually sort of won that out. So the platform itself is fully ready to go. We're at the funding stage. We are looking to integrate, allowing for NFTs within the overall protocol as well. That's quite difficult to do because if we have the monthly rebalancing and we have people coming in and out of the fund, how do you represent that illiquid asset alongside so many different liquid tokens? So that's the next stage for us, is making sure that we can give exposure to NFTs alongside. But yeah, we're fully built out, fully ready to raise funding. I think I probably went over my time, but it's quite hard to judge there. But scan the QR code, anybody who does want to learn more. Any questions? I think that they should turn up here, but I don't have the thing that was going to do them before. So let me know if there are any at the back, or put your hand up, and happy to answer. It's good to have one at least. I think I don't think I've seen a talk that's actually had a couple, so it's good to see.
Okay. I'm not sure. Oh, okay.
It's yeah, a bit.
Yeah. So my question is, you mentioned like the 5% of this token is like in your factory contract, but it's not part of the standard itself, right?
Correct.
The 1% that goes to the manager of the fund, is that also like baked into the standard itself, or is that also like a parameter you decided for your factory?
So the rebalancing is done on a monthly basis, and so within that transaction, it will sell down 1/12 of the month, obviously, 1/12 of 1%, and distribute that to the BTS owner. So it's all automatically done within the contract itself. And yeah, the 5% Alva is just for those who mint it via the factory contract, and we want to open it up and make it a token standard by making sure that people can code it without that element.
Okay, thank you.
You might have a question on the screen.
Oh, here we go. I think that was the one that we just had.
Ah, okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, then.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dominic. That was great.